So in the English language, love is a four-letter word. And unlike most of the four-letter words that have negative connotations, we understand that this four-letter word is positive and it is powerful. In English, we only have one word for love, and because of that, we actually use it rather loosely. You see, the Greeks, they had four different words for love. They had this word agape, they had storge, they had philia, and they had eros. Now, see, in the Greek culture, this word agape stood for a love for God. And then the other three words, storge, philia, and eros, were all reserved for people, different types of love for people. Now, if you notice something, they had a word for loving God and they had three words for loving people, but there were zero words for loving possessions. You see, we were never designed to love possessions, but yet in the English language, since we only have this one word, love, we tend to use it loosely. We tend to use it for a lot of things, like we might say, oh, we love our house, or we say we love our car, or possibly we love some music. Maybe we love the way that our hair looks today. You see, having a love for possessions is not what love was designed for. There's a musician by the name of B.J. Thomas, and B.J. Thomas wrote a song, and he was quoted as saying, using things and loving people, that's the way it ought to be. Because loving things and using people leads to misery. The Bible says this about love. The Bible says love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it is not rude. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not delight in evil. It rejoices with truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Love never fails. You see, truly, love is the most powerful force in the universe. And yet many people today, they're afraid to say it and they're afraid to show it. Even fewer will show it. So looking at this word, this number 4 today, we're going to really dive into the number 4. We've got 4 words for love. And we also have 4 areas of our lives. And so what I want to do today is I want to pair those together and show you the 4 ways. If you can love in these 4 ways, in these 4 areas of your life, it will absolutely propel your life forward. I keep seeing this number drop from like 110 to 95, 110 to 95. I feel like people are getting like booted or kicked off for some reason. Maybe you guys are just busy this morning. I'm not sure. But I feel like people are getting booted. I normally don't see big jumps in the numbers like that. I hope you're not having trouble. 4 words for the 4 different areas of your life. So I want to start with this word philia. All right, the word, can you say it with me? Can you say philia? All right, this word philia was a word that the Greeks used when it came to a brotherly love. And the way that I like to look at it is this is the type of love that we can have in the workplace, right? We spend so much time together with our fellow employees. We spend half of our lives sometimes, or at least a third of our lives in the trenches with other people, people that were at one point strangers and now they've become our brothers and sisters. And what I've seen, especially in the auto industry, what I've seen is we spend all this time together and yet there's no love shared in the workplace. And yet the companies that do show that brotherly love are the ones that tend to succeed and excel at a super high level. I know when I was running Dan Cummins Chevrolet in Paris, Kentucky, we had an absolute love for one another. We absolutely 100% had this thing called philia going on in our store. And because of that, there was four key components, sticking with the word four. Because of that, or the number four, because of that, there was four key components that I want you to focus on when it comes to the workplace, so that you can have this philia, this brotherly love, and the success that comes along with it. So the four words that I want you to focus on are as follows. In the workplace, when we're talking about philia, I want you to encourage one another. You see, sometimes the workplace can get kind of cutthroat, right? We get to a point where it's dog eat dog. And so we run around with our heads down, just trying to take care of ourselves and not worried about others. I'm here to tell you, if you focus on encouraging others in the workplace, share your wisdom, share the experiences that you have, lift them up when their heads are down, it will take you so far. I also want you to focus on the word uplift. To truly uplift other people, you have to carry yourself a certain way. You have to have a positive attitude, a positive energy that can literally raise people up from their tone or their level into a whole nother level. So in the workplace, I want you to encourage. I want you to uplift. I also want you to support one another. You see, something we got to understand as brothers and sisters is we all have trials. We all have struggles. We all have things that we're going through. It happens. Life is smacking us in the face. We were training yesterday with one of our dealership groups, and the employees in that dealership group were talking about some of the individual struggles that they have. You see, what's great about this thing, philia, is when we love one another on a brotherly level, we can become their foundations, their strength. We can support them through the storms. And the fourth word that I want you to focus on when it comes to the workplace, I want you to focus on the word celebrate. If you could celebrate the wins of your brothers and sisters, right? Your fellow employees, literally celebrate. I'm talking stand on the desk, scream and shout. I'm talking clap and cheer. When something goes right in the auto industry, when they sell a car, when they do 2 cars, when they get a hat trick, when they get a good Google review, they get a customer that sends them a letter that says they changed their life. We got to celebrate in the workplace. There are so many businesses around the country that I see where they never celebrate their wins. They're constantly, what's next, what's next, what's next? No celebration, no time for that. And it's always telling people what they did wrong and never celebrating what they did right. You want your business to propel forward? Focus on this thing called philia, or brotherly love in the workplace. One that is not just endorsed and not just acceptable, but one that is pushed and promoted every single day. Encourage, uplift, support, and celebrate. The second area of your life that I want you to focus on is the eros. Now, the Greeks use this. This is a passionate love. You see, this is a passionate love. This is the type of love that you have at home. This is the love that you have for your spouse, the love that you have for your kids, this burning, passionate love, right? And in order for you to really show that and express that in your home, I want you to focus on these 4 words in your home. The first one is affection. My friends, listen, I'm here to tell you, we got to have affection in the home. One of the things that when I interviewed Ed Milet, he talked about Kobe Bryant and his relationships with his daughters. And one of the last times he ever saw Kobe Bryant, he had his baby in one arm and he was rubbing his oldest daughter's back with the other. And Ed Milet asked himself, do I hug my daughter enough? Do I kiss my kids enough? And I want to ask you and challenge you with that question today. Are you hugging your kids enough? Are you loving on them enough? Is that affection there? What about with your spouse? Have we allowed time and chores and work and all of these other things to create a decrease in proximity? We have to have affection at home. We got to be touchy-feely, man. I'm telling you. There's a transfer that happens when it's skin to skin. We got to touch. We got to be affectionate. The second word that I want you to focus on at home is we've got to be endure. We have to endure the shortcomings of those that we love in the home, right? We have to endure. When it comes to my kids, it's an endurance battle. They're not always perfect. They're kids. They're not supposed to be perfect. And so you have to endure the ups and the downs. When it comes to your spouse or the one that you love, we have to endure the fact that they too are human. They too have storms. They too have issues. They too have things going on mentally and physically. And so it's a game of endurance when it comes to the home. Another word that I want you to use when it comes to the home is patience. Please have patience and know and understand that if you had 8 years good and 2 years bad, that doesn't mean you can't have 8 years more good. Sometimes it takes patience as relationships develop. Sometimes we have to have patience for one another when it comes to our individual development. We all go through seasons. I'm different now than I was 10 years ago. You're different now than you were 10 years ago. The people that you love are going to be different 10 years from now than they are now. So be patient when it comes to love in the home. And then I also want you to accept. I want you to accept the people that God has placed in your life, the blessings that you have. I want you to accept them for what they are, which is gifts. Accept them for what they are and accept them for who they are when it comes to the home. Don't try to shape or mold. Don't try to change anybody's uniqueness. Accept them for who they are and love them. That's what it looks like when we're talking about eros in the home. We're talking about affection, enduring, patience, and acceptance. The third area that I want of your life that I want you to look at is your community. You see, when you look at this word right here, it's pronounced storge, right? Storge. And what the Greeks were referring to with the word storge is they're referring to family, basically, but on a softer level. See, when I think of storge, I think about my community. See, this is Scott Simons, part of the Carter Myers Automotive Group, and these guys went out and raised $23,000. $23,000 for Camp Light, an organization there that loves, inspires, and gives hope and teaches children. And see, this is what it looks like when you practice storge, love for your community. And so there's 4 words that I want to share with you when you're talking about this area of your life. The 4 words that I want you to look at is stay involved in your communities. You see, too often we get involved in our own little world and we're not thinking about the things that are going on around us, the people that we can help and that we can touch, our neighbors. I want you to stay involved in your community. I want you to help progress. Progress would be the second word I want you to focus on when it comes to storge. When it comes to this type of love, make sure that you're taking actions that are going to progress your community, because any community that's not growing is dying, and dying communities today are being filled and riddled with meth and drugs and heroin because there's no growth, there's no hope. So help progress your community and move it forward. The third word I want to use when it comes to this thing called storge and loving your community is endorse your community. Be proud of it. Spend money on your local businesses. Wear the badges of honor. Support your high schools. Go watch the football games and the basketball games. Really endorse your community. And the fourth one that I want to share with you is uplift. Uplift your community. Do all that you can to be a positive, an angel of sorts for the people in your community and for your neighbors. That's what storge looks like. Now, this last one, and I'm running out of time, so I'm kind of having to rush. This last one is agape. You see, agape is a love for God. And I want you to love God in 4 ways. I want you to trust him. I want you to appreciate him. I want you to respect him. And I want you to reflect him. You see, when you practice agape, and you trust in your Father, you give him gratitude and appreciation for all that he's done in your life and the lives of those close to you. When you respect the fact that he is a powerful and a mighty God, and then ultimately you reflect him, to the world, that, my friend, is how you practice agape. You see, you have to understand there are four chambers to your heart, and I think that that's by design. I don't think there's any coincidence. There are four chambers in your heart, and there's four words for love. Love for God, love for our community, love for love at work, a brotherly type love, and a passionate love that we have at home. If you can work on those four areas of your heart, allow them to shine every single day, then I promise you, love will propel your life forward in a crazy, crazy way. Listen, my friends, if you need more videos like this, you can go to GlennLundy.com. That's right, GlennLundy.com. Go out there and have an incredible day today. Would you please? Would you go out there and have an incredible day? Love people at work. Love on your family. Love in your community. And love God, the amazing God. Because see, you, my friend, are a child of God. The God of the universe, the God who made everything, made you to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And I know you're doing it. I know you're making good decisions. I know you are. You're watching hashtag Rise and Grind, and you're going out there and you're smiling, even though it's going to be -8 degrees out there in Stevens Point. I know that you're doing these things, and I want to let you know. I want you to know that these seemingly tiny decisions that you're making, they're really making a massive impact. A massive impact on your friends, on your family members, on your coworkers. Today, you've made a massive impact on me. And I, for one, absolutely love you for it.